going to be looking at the number of the ribs of a man, that number as a whole, and also numbers within that number. There are said to be 24 ribs which enclose what is as the heart of a man. And it is also like a picture of the 24 elders around the throne having gold crowns. And the 4 beasts, also having 6 wings each, is an image of also 24 wings in the midst and around the throne, giving praise. As when the 24 elders fall down and worship and cast their crowns before the throne. And we see there are 24 hours counted in a day, like unto the 24 ribs that encircle the heart. It is said that the word that is life is the light of man, and he is also as that day star arisen in the heart of man. He was hung upon that former tree, and all his fruit removing man from sin and words of death, even knowledge apart from life. He is risen, that we may see with our heart and handle the word that is life. Within the ribs of a man, there are divisions of 7s, 5s, and 2s. For instance, there are 7 pairs of ribs which are called the true ribs, for they connect to the sternum. Much like 2 weeks or rest for man, and there are said to be 14 trees in Enoch, which wither not winter nor summer. And Paul, also knowing a man 14 years ago, which was caught up to paradise, and heard words unutterable unto man, or the flesh. 5 pairs of ribs also do not connect to the sternum, and it can also be seen as a picture, as whether the law is in the heart or not. As the 5 wise virgins with oil versus the 5 foolish virgins without oil. And 2 pairs of these 5 are also floating ribs. And within this we can see whether 5 gain 5 and whether 2 gain 2, as in the parable. For it is said, a wise man's heart is on his right hand, and whether according to the right hand or the left, it appears to be a matter of the spiritual word. For in a house of 5 there will be 2 against 3, and 3 against 2. And it is a matter of what is that third. For thirds are often depicted as either coming through the fire or falling away. For it has also been a third of the times of man since Christ is come. And it is much like unto that third sword that is seen proceeding from the mouth of the Son of Man. For there were 2 swords, and it was enough. And there is a little book in the hand of that mighty angel. And in this new or second covenant, there will be a division through the sword. Be it the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, as that third sword from the mouth of the Son of Man, and hearing a spiritual word which severs us from what is carnal, or the divided tongue of nations according to that letter. Is it as the little book in the hands of the nations through their own understanding, or is it as the little book with the 7 thunders not written of that mighty angel? The sword of the Spirit is the word of God, discerning the hearts of men, like unto the flaming sword and cherubim that keep the way of the tree of life. And in Enoch we see there is described 14 trees that wither not summer nor winter, and there are 2 sevens, imagery of man entering rest, as from his own words, having spiritual utterance. As in Corinthians, Paul, knowing a man 14 years ago that was caught up unto paradise, hearing unutterable words unto man or flesh. And in another writing it is said, these stones will serve you, noting the 5 stones that were made smooth in the river. Image of the law and heart, or spiritual word, or 5 wise virgins with oil, or 5 that gain 5. For there are 5 trees in paradise for you that change not winter nor summer. That our sons may be as plants grown up in their youth, that our daughters may be as cornerstones polished after the similitude of a palace. And these living stones and trees are as a living temple, as opposed to the temple that was made with hands. For man is the temple in which God has chosen to dwell, even his heart. just as we see the 5s and the 7s and the 12s of these 24 ribs are as parables, as they encompass the heart of a man. For the 5 wise virgins with oil go to meet the bridegroom, who is as the sun, or day star of the heart arisen. For a wise man's heart is said to be at his right hand. And it is also said, a woman shall compass a man. And it is also said, they received the use of 5 operations of God. And we see the 5 husbands that were lost of the Samaritan, and also the law. But in the 6th he imparted understanding, as this man of understanding, as the 6 stone water pots filled with best new wine, as he that draws up the counsel of the heart of man from the deep water, as Moses means to be drawn up from the water, and this is as drawing up the counsel upward, making the law spiritual in the heart of man. For the command is fulfilled in love, and Christ poured out the best new wine unto the governor, even as our heart. This is as the best new wine of the bridegroom, the sun, or that day star, poured out for our carnal understanding, that we may receive the flesh of the spiritual word for our flesh. And it is said, cast thy bread upon the waters, and give a portion to 7, and also to 8. And the Spirit of God moved upon the water, and he said, let there be light. And it is said, day unto day utters speech, wherein before that night unto night had shown knowledge. But speech is as that 7th impartation, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. For wisdom has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has killed her beasts, as what is carnal. She has furnished her table, as with the spiritual bread. And the Samaritan bound the wounds with oil and wine, and wisdom has also mingled her wine. And she says, come, go in the way of understanding, forsake the foolish, and live. Thank you for listening to this intro on the 24 ribs. It should be continued on part 2.